Hello, it's Pastor Paul Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. It is January the 15th. It is the actual birth date of a great American, Martin Luther King Jr. We began to celebrate him and his life starting on today, Friday, and we know that the holiday is on Monday the 18th. But I wanted to say happy birthday to Dr. King and all the great works that he has done. I also want to give a personal shout out to my nephew, Alan K. Anderson. God bless you, Alan, and happy birthday to you. And we thank God for the wonderful contributions you've made to society equally. We thank God for all of you who have joined us here on today as we kick off this King holiday weekend. I want to ask if you look with me at Psalm 139, verses 13 through 18. It's very powerful. A text that I have entitled, You Made Me on Purpose and You Made Me with a Purpose. You made me on purpose, and you made me with a purpose. Our text on today out of the Psalm reminds us, first of all, that God was working on the inside of all of us before he did anything on the outside. The reason I say that is because the Bible tells us that God created us to be a spirit. That means our spirits are immortal. Before we even came to earth, before we occupied our bodies, the Bible lets us know, even in the book of Jeremiah, God said, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. That means that we are immortal. And because we're immortal, we must not focus on the temporary situation, but we must think about eternity. I'm so happy that Martin Luther King was one who thought about not the present moment, but he thought about what would happen in the days ahead and what would be eternal. Secondly, it lets us see that the Bible says that God made us, and he made us in a very complex way. I'm so happy that God did something with us that was so unique. God knew all the intricacies of our bodies. He knew the importance of how our heart would need to function, of how our lungs would need to function, our kidneys, our bladder, all of our internal organs. And God did it in such a complex way that he even created a central nervous system that will send messages to the brain and from the brain to the other parts of our bodies. God made us in such a complex way, it is hard for anybody to even fathom that we just pop happen. That's impossible. Have you ever noticed how everything about every human being, unless there is some kind of birth defect, that it is consistently the same? It is amazing that we must remind ourselves that God had a purpose for us and God had a plan for us. Thirdly, it lets us see that God created all of us to understand the greatest and the highest realm is the spiritual realm. We must remind ourselves during this time of COVID-19, during all the things that we've seen in Washington, D.C., that this is a spiritual battle. This is not a fleshly battle. And the Bible tells us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. So we must remind ourselves to put on the full armor of God. Lastly, it lets us see that God is recording everything that we say and that we do. He knows all about us. And because he knows all about us, he designed us for a purpose, for a plan. Today, I want you to make sure that you know what your purpose, and you know that God has created you on purpose and with a purpose. Dr. King understood that. He said some great words that all of us echo as we go into this weekend. Please know that God created you for a purpose, and you should be on purpose. I'll see you on tomorrow morning.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.